Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Ali Nafa. I am a pharmacist, health coach, and a YouTuber. And I'm going to talk to you today about how to be rich like Rahman ibn Auf. Probably the title looks interesting or weird. But I talked about how to think like Khalid ibn al-Walid about 2 weeks ago, and I received a very good feedback from audience. The approach that we have is kind of a new approach to how to understand the companions, how to understand their personalities, and how to get to the lessons learned and techniques to implement those lessons in your daily life. So I'm not telling stories, because I'm assuming that everyone here listened to the stories of Sahaba, either Khalid ibn Walid or Rahman ibn Auf. Today we're talking about Rahman ibn Auf. We're not talking about his story, but we will take two situations in his life. We will analyze them. We'll get to the lessons we learned from them, techniques to implement these lessons in our daily life. Because the goal is to live the life of Sahaba, or to live the life in a way that's similar to the way they lived. It has to be different, but I'm talking about the goals, the way of thinking, how they achieve their goals, and to have them as a role model for us, not just to listen to their stories and to say, oh, well, that was an interesting story. I don't think that would be the point. It would be just a waste of time if we're just listening to stories without getting to the lessons we learned from it. So the Sahabi that we are talking about today is Rahman ibn Auf. And Rahman ibn Auf is one of the famous Sahaba. He was a multi-millionaire. And that's why we're actually talking about this part of his life, about riches, about how to be rich, about how he got rich, and about how can we benefit from his story. Rahman ibn Auf was one of the richest people in this era, and when he died, he left like millions of dirhams or dinars, and the fortunes as they considered it at that time, like 3,000 sheep, 1,000 camel, 100 horse, hundreds or thousands or millions of dirhams or dinars. Which counts like in fortune in these days, like he was a really multi-millionaire, if not a billionaire. And we always talk about Quran and living the Quran, because the companions got to the level that they got to, either success in achieving their goals, success in their life, in working for the hereafter, and actually when we talked about Khalid ibn Walid, success as an army leader. So you'll find different models for the companions, and that comes to the way that they lived their life, the way that they read the Quran, and the way they understood the Quran. Unfortunately, most Muslims those days, they read the Quran just to read it, just to get the rewards, just to get the thawab or hasanat of the Quran, and that's not the way it should be. It's good to read the Quran to get reward, but this is only one of the reasons we read the Quran. The Quran was not sent to us to only read it, or to only recite it, or to only memorize it. The Quran, these are actually just tools. The Quran was sent down to us for us to do tadabbur, and this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Sad, كِتَابٌ أَنزَلْنَاهُ إِلَيْكَ مُبَارَكٌ لِيَدَّبَّرُوا آيَاتِهِ. So it wasn't sent only for reciting or memorization, it was sent to us for tadabbur, and tadabbur means reflection, understanding, and implementing. And you will find in the Quran, in many ayahs, it talks about doing. الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. So to have faith and to actually do, to take action. You'll find many ayahs about this meaning. And before we talk about the situations in Rahman ibn Auf radiallahu anh, in his life, about his life and what we learned from it, we want to talk about some beliefs that we need to change in order to reach to the riches state of mind. Because riches, as I think, is a state of mind. It's not, or it starts with a state of mind. So if you have wrong beliefs about money, about life, you will probably not be able to get to this state. So the first concept I'm going to talk about is the despising or belittling dunya, or life. And this actually comes from misunderstanding of some verses, some ayahs of the Quran or some ahadith. Like this ayah, فَلَا تَغُرَّنَّكُمُ الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا. And another ayah, إِنَّمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا لَهْوٌ وَلَعِبٌ. And you'll find many ayahs about al-hayat ad-dunya, and you'll find in it like negative meanings about al-hayat ad-dunya. And we always look at it and say, well, this is dunya. It's not something that's worth it. We shouldn't think about it. We shouldn't give it, and like we shouldn't consider it as an important thing. But that's actually not correct, because in all these ayahs you'll find the word of dunya. You'll find another word before it, al-hayat ad-dunya. And if you follow all these ayahs that are talking about the dunya in a negative way or despising the dunya, you'll find the word al-hayat before it, al-hayat ad-dunya. But when you find the word ad-dunya by itself, you will find like it may be like a positive way or a neutral way about dunya. Most likely positive. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً. So there is no ayah in which you will find the dunya and it's associated with a negative meaning. So this is the difference between al-hayat ad-dunya and the dunya. And what's in their when they are mentioned in the Quran. But what's actually the difference is when the Quran talks about dunya, so that's about our life, about the regular life in general. But when it talks about al-hayat ad-dunya, it means the way you live your life when your desires actually influence you to go astray or to do haram or to do things that are going to have negative consequences in the akhirah or in the hereafter. This is al-hayat ad-dunya. So dunya in itself or life in itself is good, but if you do wrong acts, it's going to be al-hayat ad-dunya, and this is what the Quran is talking about as la'ibun wa lahwun, about despising it or in talking about it in a negative way. And actually, if you think about it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, did He create us for dunya or for akhirah? وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us for worship. So worship is in dunya or in akhirah? In dunya. Correct? There may be worship in akhirah. I'm not a scholar to say that if there is or it isn't, but the main understanding is worship is in dunya. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us mainly for dunya, to worship Him in the dunya, and then the akhirah is a result. So you have a test and you have a result. You have a farm and you plant a seed, and then you collect the harvest at the end, which is in akhirah. وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is another ayah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He talked to al-malaika, before He creates humankind, and He said, I'm creating humankind so they will be representative for me on the earth. So is this in dunya or in akhirah? This is in dunya too. So you are the representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in life and the earth. And the meaning of being representative of Allah is to one of the understandings that I actually believe in, or I think it's correct, is to make a world a better place to live in. If you're doing that, so you're fulfilling your duty as Khalifa or as representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you can't do that only by regular acts of worship like praying or paying zakah or fasting. You need to do that by taking actually actions that influence and affect the lives of peoples around you and life of humankind on the earth. So, and one of the other beliefs about riches or about being rich, you know, there are two ways, either to be rich or to be poor, and nobody wants to be poor. So this understanding that we talked about dunya, about money, despising money too, this actually caused us to have like double personalities. So we want to think about money, about dunya, like belittling it or talking about in a negative way when we want to feel good about being like religious, which is actually not correct, or that comes from misunderstanding. But in the same time, we want to be rich. We want to enjoy our life. So it's like it results in having a person with double personalities. But if you have the correct understanding that enjoying your life, being rich in life doesn't contradict with working for the hereafter, with working for the akhirah, you will feel more comfortable and you will have more success because your beliefs hold you back actually if you have negative beliefs. So one of the things is to stop feeling guilt about money. Stop feeling guilt about money. So I see that with many of the, and I had this actually feeling myself. Like when we talk about our goals, always we say, oh, I'm not concerned about money. I don't about it. This is the last thing I want. I mean, why? This is one of the goals. So if you want to enjoy your life, you want to have money to enjoy your life. So that's one of the things you can enjoy your life with. So you shouldn't feel guilt about having money. نعم المال الصالح للعبد الصالح. And that actually comes from misunderstanding or some concepts that we talked about, or other hadith that are very weak, like Abdurrahman ibn Auf, and we're talking about Abdurrahman ibn Auf today. There is a hadith that the Prophet ﷺ says, Abdurrahman ibn Auf يدخل الجنة حبوا. إني رأيت عبد الرحمن بن عوف يدخل الجنة حبوا. He enters, Abdurrahman ibn Auf enters the paradise crawling because he is rich. And this is actually a weak hadith. This is not an authentic hadith. There is another hadith also, فقراء أمتي يدخلون الجنة قبل أغنيائها ب500 عام. The poor people will enter Jannah first, like 500 years before rich people, because rich people have to stay to be asked about their money. But this is actually a weak hadith too. So it's good to have money. We need to stop to feel guilt about money, and that's actually would be the beginning of achieving or our financial goals or our goals in general. Because riches is not only being rich in money. It has many forms. One of them is health, for example. One of them is happiness. But money, for sure, is one of the forms of riches. The Prophet ﷺ himself wasn't poor. There are many also. You will probably hear lots of stories about the Prophet ﷺ, and people who tell the stories want you to believe that the Prophet ﷺ was poor. The Prophet ﷺ was not poor. He was rich. He used to spend a lot, but if you look at his life, especially after Hijrah, he was very rich. Can money buy happiness? So this is also one of the concepts or one of the beliefs about money. Like to have money doesn't mean that you're happy. Or actually, some people want you to understand that in order to be happy, you need to have less money, because people with money, people who have money are not happy. They always think about their money and how to protect it. And this is actually not correct either. Actually, there are studies that says like money is associated with increased level of happiness. So less negative feeling, less negative emotions, and people who are financially rich, they evaluate their quality of life higher than other people who are not rich. Like they give them evaluation for their lives, and the results come most likely come up as rich people evaluate their quality of life more. So money is associated with happiness, but that doesn't mean like everybody who's rich will be happy or every poor person is not happy. You will find all those poor people are happy and rich people are not happy. You will find, but most likely, when you have more money, you are happier. And one of the other beliefs also that we need to look at is, some people say it's, everything is written already. So my rizq is written, how long I live is written, so it's not going to be changed. And that's not correct. It can be changed. And this is the hadith when Prophet ﷺ says, من حب أن يبسط له في رزقه وينسأ له في أثره فليصل رحمه. Whoever wants to have more rizq or more sustenance or more blessings and to live a longer life, should do kinship bonding or having good relationship with relatives. So that means if you do that, you will live more, you will have more rizq. So that means it actually can be changed. And in the Quran, وَمَا يُعَمَّرُ مِن مُعَمَّرٍ وَلَا يُنْقَصُ مِنْ عُمُرِهِ إِلَّا فِي كِتَابٍ. So there is nobody who lives until certain age, or this age will be decreased unless it's written. So it can be changed. How long you live, how much money you would have, how much rizq in general, because rizq is a general word, can be changed. And also there is another hadith that's dua. Al-dua yaruddu al-qada. So there are things that are written, but they can be changed. There are ways. And one of them is taking the means and taking actions. So this is the first situation that we're going to talk about. Abdurrahman ibn Auf, when he migrated to Al-Madinah, and there was al-mu'akha between al-Muhajirin and Ansar. So Prophet ﷺ asked one person from al-Muhajirin, from people who migrated from Mecca, and one from the people of al-Ansar who are already in al-Madinah, to be brothers. So they help each other. And Abdurrahman ibn Auf and Sa'd ibn Rabi' were brothers. The Prophet ﷺ akha baynahuma. So Sa'd ibn Rabi' told Abdurrahman ibn Auf, I have money, I will divide it in two halves. You take one half, I'm going to take the other. And then my house, we're going to divide it. So you take half and I take the other. But Abdurrahman ibn Auf said, Jazakallahu khayran, walakin dullani ala suq. Thank you so much, Jazakallah khair. Just tell me where the marketplace is. And he went directly to the marketplace. And in the marketplace, the first day, he made money that's enough to feed himself. And then after that, he became, gradually, step by step, he became very rich. And one of the lessons that we learned from here is believe. You need to believe that you can. If you believe you can, you will. So if Abdurrahman ibn Auf didn't believe in himself, he would have taken the half of the wealth of Sa'd ibn Rabi'ah, or he would have stayed in the masjid without even trying. So because we don't believe in ourselves, we don't take action. If you believe in yourself, this belief will lead you to take actions. And it's very known, and you try it. I'm sure you probably have tried in other things in the past. When you believe in something and you have faith in it, and you think about it, it happens. It doesn't happen by itself, because you need to take the means, but your belief leads you to take actions. And there is I am a pharmacist, so this is about placebo effect. Have you heard about placebo effect? Raise your hand if you have heard about it. So placebo effect, yeah, it's the same thing in Arabic. So when they do research and medications, they do clinical trials, and one of the steps is to study the effect of the medication. So they bring two groups of people, and they give to one of them the medication, and to other group, they give them fake pills. They tell them this is the medication, but they don't actually put the medication in it, to measure the effect of their belief. Because if you believe in something, if you take anything and you believe in it, these emotions will lead you actually to feel what you are thinking what you are thinking as a result of this action. So they give the other group fake pills, and not surprisingly, in every time it happens, there is a percentage of the other group that are taking fake pills. They get the same effect, the same result. Either it's like to reduce cholesterol or to decrease blood pressure or to whatever effect they're looking for, like relieving pain. And the surprising fact that is they may give the same fake pill to different groups of people, and they tell the first group, this is for blood pressure, the other group, this is for cholesterol, the third group, this is for relieving pain, and the same pill that doesn't have a medication at all results in a different effect in those groups, just because they believe that it will happen. But so it happens. So it affects them not only their emotions, but it affects them on biological level and physical levels, because they would not get these action unless there is something in their chemistry has been changed. To that extent, belief can affect your life. Belief can change your life, actually. So now we're talking about biological effect. How about like effect in your life, leading you to take more actions, leading you to have a plan and to execute it and to follow through. That's actually very powerful. And placebo effect can be anywhere from 5% or less until 80%. One of the techniques that it can improve the belief is to write down your goals. So if you write down your goals, if you look at it, if you repeat it, if you read it, that's actually makes you more you're going to be more likely to achieve their goals if you write them down. Because if you write them down, actually you're taking action in writing them and then reading them. So, and this has been studied. People who write their goals are more likely to achieve their goals, probably 2-folds or 3-folds. I don't remember the result of the study, but it's always happens. Like you need to write down your goals, and once you do them, even if it's a minor goals or a major goals, once you write them down and you look at them, you repeat them, it's likely that it will happen. It's not going to happen by itself, but it's going to lead you to take action to actually actualize these goals and make them reality. This is a quote by Aristotle. We are what we repeatedly do. So excellence is not an act, it's a habit, and habit is very powerful. So if you start to implement habits in your life, after a certain time, like 2 or 3 weeks, you will be repeating it and doing it. Like one of them is writing your goals, for example, every day, or reading them every day. It can be anything else you think that it's going to make you closer to achieving your goals. If you keep repeating it, it's going to become a habit, and it's going to become easier. Like, for example, if you have a goal of losing weight, for example, because this is important for health, and health is a form of riches. So if you do it and you keep repeating it for a week or 2, after that, it's going to be a second nature. It's going to be very easy for you to achieve your goals. Going back to the marketplace for Abdurrahman ibn Auf. So the first lesson is believe you can. If you believe you can, you will. The second lesson is get to the marketplace. Take the first action. Because he believed in himself, but he did take an action. And many people would have desires and have goals, but they don't actually take action. They don't take the first step. But once you take the first step and then the second step, it's gonna become easier, and then you will keep taking actions. And you remember from Khalid, think like Khalid ibn al-Walid, the first lesson was get on your horse immediately. And we talked about Khalid ibn al-Walid. Once he decided to be Muslim, to convert to Islam, he got on his horse immediately and left Mecca to Al-Madinah. And this is actually was one of the secrets that he was very successful, because he always takes action. So what's the next? What I can do next? What's the next step? And this is what Abdurrahman ibn Auf did. So the first, probably the first few moments or the first day after he talked to Sa'd ibn Rabi', he said, tell me where the marketplace is. And he told him where the marketplace is. He went to the marketplace, and he was able to make money from the first day. So this is the second lesson. It's always take action, get to the marketplace. So I'm getting these slides intentionally because it's gonna help you. If you remember this as a mental picture and you keep remembering it and keep thinking about it whenever you have a goal or whenever you want to take action towards a goal, it will actually motivate you. And this is knocking dominoes. So this is the first, if you think about it, when you take action, it will lead to another action. It's gonna be like almost spontaneous. If you bring like a 1 millimeter or 2 millimeter domino, and then the second domino, it's gonna be like about 1.5 the size of the first one. So the first one is gonna be 2 millimeters, and after like the number 13 would be about 1 meter, would be probably 30 pounds or 40 pounds, and it can easily knocks it down. It will knock it down. I have a video, but probably we can do it another time, just for the sake of time. Or actually, I'm gonna play the video because it's good for having a mental picture. So it's a couple of minutes video. So see the dominoes effect. See how when you take action and start taking action, even if it's a small action, how that is gonna impact your life. Think about it while watching this video.
Everybody knows about playing with dominoes, but what you may not know is that a domino can knock over another domino, which is about 1.5 times larger. So what I have here is a chain of dominoes. Each one is 1.5 times larger than the previous one. And the smallest domino is about 5 millimeters high and 1 millimeter thick. And I will carefully place it. And there are 13 dominoes. The largest domino, it weighs about 100 pounds and is more than 1 meter tall. Ready? Two. That was 13 dominoes. If I had 29 dominoes, the last domino would be as tall as the Empire State Building. Here we go.
So think about these dominoes as little actions you take every day. And think about it, how it's going to impact your life. And then the third lesson we learned from Abdurrahman ibn Auf. Abdurrahman ibn Auf was very generous. So it was narrated that he had a qafila, or one of his projects that he used to work in trade. So he had like 700 camels loaded with goods, and he donated them all for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in order to get, you need to give, and that's it's donation. I mean, it's one of them, but it's not. It's also in addition to donation, you need to give value. So in order to be rich, so if we're talking about like being rich financially or getting money, you want to get it from other people. And if you want to get it from other people, you need to give them value. So in order to get, you need to give. So think about the value that they're offering for other people. And if you are thinking about relationships, for example, being happy in a relationship, you need to give. So if you need love, you need to give love. If you need respect, you need to give respect. So that's how it works. This is a universal law. In order to get something, you need to give the same thing, or something that's equivalent to it in value. So just to conclude, believe in yourself, believe that you can. And actually believing yourself is part of believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is the one who gave you the powers. He is the one who gave you the means to work with. So if you believe you can, that means you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in His qudra, in His power, that in the skills that He gave you to be able to use these skills, and believe in yourself is believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His power. Get to the marketplace, take an action right away, think about the next action always. If you want to get, you need to give. So think about the value that you're going to give to other people. And sometimes what's holding you back is all in your head. Like this picture, look at it. Sometimes we have goals, but we don't take actions because there is something holding us back. But what's holding us back is actually nothing. We just need to take action and start, and you'll find everything is changing around you. Thank you so much.